After corruption.
I'm currently working on a game called After Corruption. It's a survival horror game themed like a PlayStation 1 title. This first deck vlog is going to focus on level generation. I decided to try having the levels be randomly generated. This would save time, and it also lends to claustrophobic sort of indoor feelings seen in those earlier PlayStation 1 games. So first I created a simple model to define a map tile in Blender. The map tile would contain floors, walls, ceilings for each of the different tile types. I also threw in what I was calling as blockers. This would easily limit what the player could see when they were in a room. It could also be done with object or render visibility, but I just did this as a quick option for now, and I might get rid of it later. So in Unity, I have a script that allows me to pick which tile type I want it to be, and the script will automatically turn on the model components for the walls, floors, and the ceilings that we actually want to use. Each of the tiles also contains an empty object, which in the corners that can be used for the camera, and that can be used when the player actually enters the tile space. So in my first design, I created a variable map of X by X tiles, and it randomly assigned all of the tiles to be a different tile type. So then I threw in a really simple tank style controller, tested moving the player around through the level, and it worked. As the player enters a tile, the camera randomly picks one of the available cam-up positions inside the tile and then moves itself dynamically. This only would happen once. It doesn't flip around every time you re-enter the room, so it would be kind of standard once you enter the tile once. Overall, the prototype works, but I have a few problems in the kind of overall design that I need to work with. The tile generation was completely random, so it's not actually a great space to explore. It would create a bunch of dead ends and unconnected spaces, and you would never really be able to enter them. And on top of that, I needed to figure out how I was going to define doors and then consider something to be a room attached to a door. So as I started thinking about it, what I really realized was that there was only a small number of room types that I needed. And those room types were a large, medium, and small open room, and then essentially hallways. So a straight hallway, T hallway, a Z hallway, and an L hallway. So I could pre-create the rooms and then pre-place the doors, and then that would allow me to position and control the limit out of how many spaces could be attached to a room. So I wrote a level design that places a single open room, and then based on the door positions that are within it, it can place other pieces on top of that, and it basically runs a collider check to make sure that that new room isn't colliding with any existing rooms. And the code just loops through that process and either adds a tile or adds a room to another door or marks a door as sort of a dead end. I left the camera system the way it originally was, but this became pretty disorienting pretty fast. A large room had about 16 tiles in it, so if you can imagine the camera shifting 16 times every time you moved, well, it would really only shift about 4 times, but 16 potential times. So I thought about it and realized that in most situations you really only need 1 or 2 camera positions for each of the actual rooms. So I just coded dedicated positions for the cameras in each of the rooms, and the tiles were actually linked to each of those positions, so once you entered a tile it would move the camera if the camera wasn't already in that space. So this is what it's looking like now. That's it for this devlog. I don't have a Steam page up yet, but I hope to have one soon. I just need to make more content so I can make a trailer. If you want to get updates, you can follow me on Twitter with my username @Grubion.